Well, good morning, Cam.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It is Saturday morning, and we have snow. Did you guys get snow yesterday?
Yeah, and some of it even survived the night, but it's going to get burned off by the glorious sun.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking I need to close the shade behind me here because the snow is just making everything super bright outside. So a few weeks ago, we talked about the Vision Pro and how, $3,500 was an insane amount of money. Did you know you could pay more?
This thing is so stupid.
So Caviar, who is, a tech company that, well, I don't know if you call them a tech company. They're more of like we take other people's tech and make it blingy. But they
I really hope that's their actual slogan.
18. Yeah, I think they do. They have an 18 karat gold Apple Vision Pro that lists for $40,000. So $3,500 doesn't seem that bad now.
I hate everything about this.
Hold on, I'm going to shut this window. It's really bugging me. All right, that's better. It was really bright out there. But yeah, so I don't think you'll be buying that anytime soon. Am I correct?
Maybe tomorrow, but as of today, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's in either one of our long-term plans for purchases.
It's so dumb for a product that's going to be obsolete in 5 years.
This is how I felt about the gold Apple Watch, because the gold Apple Watch was the worst version of the Apple Watch. By the way, I think it came in the nicest case. You had the first one? You remember the box that it came in?
No.
Oh, hold on. So I happen to have it on the shelf right behind me. But it was a beautiful white box. This is going to work really well for, and you can't really see it, but the Apple Watch is kind of indented in there, or, it just looks nice.
Embossed or debossed, whichever the correct one is.
Yeah, whichever that. And when you opened it, you had this beautiful white
plastic case, right?
Inside of it, because someone in Apple thought, hey, let's give them a plastic case to keep the Apple Watch in and keep it really nice. Which, by the way, still one of the worst. I guess I don't have any cables in here, but yeah, I discovered this the other day and it brought me back, and I'm like, man, that is a really nice case. But arguably the worst.
Plastic is
Apple
bad for
Watch.
the planet.
Yeah.
Well, it was the first one.
It was the first one.
The worst one.
No, it was the first one, and this was even the sport version. The cases that the stainless steel and the edition watches came in were way fancier than this. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. I was thinking about that. But yeah. So when anybody who bought the gold, I don't know if it was 24 karat. I thought it was 14 karat gold. But the gold that they had on the original Apple Watch that you spent $40,000 on, that thing, I can't imagine how people felt like a year later when the battery lasted like 2 hours and it was, you couldn't navigate apps, and it was kind of junky after a while. So anybody who's had one knows what I'm talking about. Not to mention yours flew off your wrist practically when you were drumming.
Because the battery was swelled. But yeah. I had mine for a long time before that happened.
Yeah, and I think I had mine for 4 or 5 years before I replaced it with it would had to have been 4 or 5 years if it was, I replaced it with the Series 4, so.
Well, I went for a while without one, and then I have the Series 6.
Yeah, I got the Series 7, I'm pretty sure.
Which, Series 9 is the one that's out right now?
Yeah.
The 10's about to drop later this year?
Yep.
Yeah, so.
I'm waiting for the fall to see if I want to pop for the Ultra. So. But.
No, I'm not buying another Apple Watch until this one dies on me. That's.
Normally what happens with mine is they get so scratched up that because of my work. That is just
that's fair.
They get to be in pretty bad condition after, I think the last one lasted about 3 years for me. So, and this fall would be 3 years with my current Apple Watch. So, but anyway, I've got a couple of topics I wanted to talk about. I thought we'd do just a grab bag episode, because we've got some small topics that we want to discuss and maybe something fun if we've got some time for it. I see that you do not have anything for what's delighting you today in there. Do you have anything picked for today?
Oh, I will decide on something.
All right. Well, we'll think about it.
I know.
Yeah.
Duh. I know exactly what it is. Okay.
Should we talk about your latest purchase? We're going to talk about that in a minute with one of your. Oh, got it. Yep. That's a cam pick. So. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, let's go ahead and we'll fire off the sounder and get into our grab bag. So, you want to just start and go down the list in the order it's in?
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss, and again, these are just little mini topics, but I had an email this last week. Hey, your what is a Pocket Casts subscription is going to be renewed at the end of the month. I think it's the 30th is the day that the annual membership renews. Now, let's put this into context that I originally subscribed to this app for $9.99 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year they bumped it up to $14.99 a year, which, okay, $5. I'll eat it. I like the app,
Only
whatever.
a 50% increase. Okay.
Oh, you and your percentages.
Wait for it.
Yes. Yeah. Wait for where it's going. So I get this email that hey, it's going to renew for $39.99 a year. So I go into the app to update it, and it said, renew for $14.99. All right. So I hit renew for $14.99, and the next page said $14.99. The next page said, we're going to charge you $39.99 on such and such a date. I'm like, this is wrong. It said $14.99 all leading up to this. So I went ahead and I hit the renew button, and I thought, we'll see. It's not going to charge me till the 30th. It was clear about that. Otherwise I wouldn't have done it. And then I get an email saying, hey, on March 30th, we're going to charge you $39.99. I was like, no, you're not. So I went in and I canceled the subscription before it charged me. And I'm back on Overcast. So, because I am not paying $39.99 a year for Pocket Casts.
That is a bell curve, like up in.
Yes, Mr. Percentages.
$9.99.
That's
50%.
Like 2.5 times.
It's more than double.
Yeah.
That's insane. They must be hurting for cash if they're doing that.
Well, I think the biggest difference between, like, say, a Pocket Cast and Marco at Overcast is that I think Pocket Cast is a team of developers that puts that together. Yeah. Which, when you look at the app, pretty much all the big new features that they're going to do kind of get rolled into Pocket Cast. There's a couple right now that are missing. I will tell you, I went back and looked at Apple Podcasts. I really like the Apple Podcast app now, but it doesn't have smart speed. It doesn't have smart speed.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
That's kind of a deal breaker for me. But otherwise, the app is gorgeous. It looks really nice. It's got the transcriptions built in, the AI transcriptions. So that's a really nice thing. Although I don't really sit and watch my phone while I'm listening to a podcast. So there's that. But it really has the Apple Music design language now. So it is, with its pluses and minuses, but it's a really pretty app. And I think, it's come a long way since the faux reel to reel tape on the, behind the cover art and stuff like that. It's really come a long way and looks really nice. So
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Wow.
The first Apple Podcast app had that fake reel behind it.
Man,
that's like a skeuomorphic thing.
You're on your history game today.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, between that and the box, you're pulling all the well, we're going to get to that here in a second, too. So does Overcast still have the giant pills that are awful? It
does. Yeah, it is what it is. But
smart speed over everything, right, Mitch?
So, well, yeah, I mean, what other apps do you have where you have that option that, I came from Overcast. I was comfortable with Overcast. It's not the prettiest app, but Marco does say that he's done a complete redesign of the app using Swift UI as much as possible and core frameworks and all this kind of stuff. So there's a new version of the app coming later this year that is completely rewritten from the ground up. So there's a possibility that the design language changes significantly in the new version. But so I'm kind of waiting to see that. And he did allude to this, I think, on the show last week, that he's waiting till after WWDC to launch it, just in case there's a bunch of weird stuff that gets added. So so he wants to make sure that he doesn't release an app and then have to go back and redo a whole bunch of stuff. So. But so I'm excited to see what they do with that. So yeah,
I think it's smart on his part.
You had a little topic that you wanted to discuss as well, so I'll let you have at her.
Yeah, so about a week and a half ago, I was able to upgrade my iPhone 13 Pro to the iPhone 15 Pro because my however many month contract I had, was finally up on that phone. So I was up for an upgrade and I decided to go for it because I didn't want to wait for the 16 to come out in a couple months. And well, I was like, whatever, I don't care. I don't need to be on the latest and the greatest anymore. I'm not, 24 and eager to have, all that sort of stuff. So in picking my phone, I decided on the 15 Pro, so I didn't go Pro Max or anything like that. I was looking, like picking the size of my, storage and, yada, yada, yada. And I came across, I was like, oh, MagSafe compatible. I was like, oh, sweet. I've never had MagSafe before. I'm interested in trying that out. Well, the astute listener will know that the iPhone 13 Pro most certainly had MagSafe. And here's how I knew that at some point and had forgotten that fact. I have two lightning cables, one by my bed and one in the living room, so that I could charge my phone in either spot if I needed to. I was like, oh, well, those don't work anymore because the iPhone 15 also has USB-C, which is fantastic. So I went to go put those cables away in where I keep all of my different, and I've got a big Ziploc bag that has lots of smaller ones in it that have like USB-A to USB-C, USB-C to USB-C, USB-A to micro, like all the different, iterations or permutations, I guess is the correct word. And guess what I found in there? A MagSafe charger for my iPhone. So that is how I realized that at some point, not only did I know that my iPhone 13 Pro had MagSafe, but I bought a MagSafe disc for it. So I felt like a real smart human being at that moment. But I was like, okay, well, great. I'm going to try this out because obviously I haven't, used it in a long enough time that I forgot that I even had it. So I have been diving into the MagSafe world as far as goes with my iPhone, and I have a really cheap. I got it for like on Amazon for like $16 or $17. A nightstand table or a bedside table stand for MagSafe for my phone, so I can put it sideways and it does like the standby mode. Mm-hmm. Where you can have the different apps, and then at night it's just like really low red. Yeah. And what's really cool is like it'll be off, and then like if I roll over to look at it, it'll notice my motion and it will turn the clock on.
Yeah,
and then it turns it back, which is like kind of weird that my phone is watching me sleep. It's also kind of convenient to go, oh, okay, it's 3:42 in the morning. Why did I wake up? You know? So I've got the nightstand again, which I used the charger I bought from Apple already. Just plopped in this little like $16 or $17 nightstand, which is convenient. It just clicks on. I don't have to fidget with a cable or, you know, anything like that. And then I got a MagSafe holder for my car as well, which is, again, super convenient because it just pops right on, pops right off. You know, it's, you don't have to fiddle with any pincher things or weird. Like I had a quad lock case and mount for my car, and I had to like put it in like the perfect 45-degree angle and twist it, which was nice because I knew it wasn't going anywhere, but also just kind of annoying. But I mean, I used it for, you know, 2 years or whatever. And just the other day, I got the MagSafe wallet as well, which I wasn't sure about. I was like, I'll try. Oh, you have one?
Yeah. I've had one actually since I had the 13. This is almost 3 years old.
So you like it?
Yeah, it works all right.
I was a bit hesitant because it only holds like 3 cards.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I have my driver's license and 2 credit cards in there, and that's all I need.
Yeah, I've got license, credit card, and then my health insurance card, just in case. But like, so that was my one hesitation, was it only holds 3. I was like, you know, I can't. I've got other things that like I would like to have my debit card in there just in case you know, the credit card doesn't process or whatever, or they don't take Apple Pay. You know, my kids' health insurance card, things like that. But
let's be honest, that's the reason the wallet exists, is because there's still stores that don't take Apple Pay. So.
And the other thing too, that was the thing that put me over the edge about it, was that it pairs with your phone in the sense that Find My notices your wallet, and so if you leave it behind or it falls off your phone, you know, you'll get a notification, hey, your wallet detached at this location, and then you can use Find My to go back and find it, which is like, that's pretty nice to have. You know, I've never had AirTags, you know, or anything, but like, so I didn't. It's essentially, the other option was just keep my wallet and put an AirTag in it to have that same, you know, sort of functionality. And I have a really tiny wallet as far as like, it's just the size of card, you know, and I didn't want to do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm living the MagSafe lifestyle. I'll try it. If I don't like it, I can return it, you know. But I've had it for 4 days now. And the 3 card limitation hasn't been nearly as annoying as I thought it was going to be. The one downside though is like, in order to put my phone on my MagSafe holder in my car, I have to take the wallet off to put it on, and then I get a notification, hey, your wallet was like, I know. It's sitting next to my phone in a cup holder. It's like, I wish that there was like proximity settings that you could set on that notification. Like, hey, if I'm more than 10 feet away from the wallet after it's been detached, tell me, because that means that it fell off and I'm walking away. But if I take it off and it's literally sitting 6 inches away, don't notify me.
Yeah, well, you know how the wallet works, right? There's no chips or anything in there. All it does is notice that the magnetic bond is broken, and it's like, oh, you had the wallet on. There must be something in there that lets it know it's the wallet, but it literally like breaks that magnetic bond. I don't think after it detaches from the phone that it has any idea where it is. So it's not. See, what's kind of nice about some of the other MagSafe accessories or the Find My accessories that you can get, like for instance, my fancy travel mug connects on Find My. So if I leave it at the church and I'm driving out of the driveway, it pops up and says, "Hey, you left your your travel mug, your expensive travel mug at your last location, and then it gives me the address to go back to, which is super convenient. It's really nice, and it doesn't do that when I leave home because home is considered a safe place for it to be. So, but what is kind of funny is sometimes I'll turn it off to save battery when I leave a location, and it'll pop up and say, even if I have it with me, it's not connected anymore. So it's like, oh, you left it. We saw it back here last time, and now you've left that location. So we think you left it back here. But so then I have to, sometimes that happens when I leave work, and I have to tap my bag and be like, oh no, it's still in my bag. It's all right. So, but yeah, no, did you get the Bilkin mount for the car?
No, it's like some company called ESR. I found it on Amazon.
Okay. Yeah. I was really being picky about, the mount that I got for my car. So I ended up, because I knew it was kind of blessed by Apple. I got the Bilkin mount, and I've been really happy with it. It's a air vent clip style, mount.
Yeah. This is the first air vent one I've had. And I'm not sure I like that bit of it because it's been cold here the last couple days, like lows in the low 20s, and so that means my heat is on in my car. That means that my phone is just getting blasted with really hot air, and the back of it gets really warm.
I mean, that's the downside of that. But to me, I don't like drilling holes in my dash. I don't like, relying on suction cups, different things like that. I've always preferred the air mount or the vent mount style because it's just, to me, you don't have it's not as intrusive as some of the other stuff, and it's more reliable than, say, like a suction cup or something like that. So I still have to push it in a couple times. The other thing I'm
getting used to too is the new location, right? Because mine was suction cup to the windshield, and that thing was on there, but having it out on the air vent now means it's out of, direct eyesight, which I actually think is better. And it's closer to like check my route, on maps. Like I want to see the whole route, see if I have better route or whatever. So I don't know. I don't like it but also like the heat issue is only going to be a problem for a couple more weeks, and then it's going to be nice and frosty on the back when I put my AC on in the summertime. So it was weird putting it, like getting out of the car and throwing it in my pocket. Like, why is my thigh warm? Because my phone is baking. So anyways, all that to say, MagSafe is nice and convenient. And, I've been thinking like, what other cool things could you do with it? Like, I know they make mounts for like your Apple, to like have FaceTime on use it as the FaceTime camera for your TV or your laptop or your iMac or whatever. Nice. And I know some companies make like tripod heads that are MagSafe, so you can just slap your phone on there and that sort of stuff. So I was just trying to think, like, what other cool things could it be used for? The grip that I have for my phone is made by ShiftCam. They have a version of that's MagSafe. So I'm not sure what the price difference is, but it's and then that one's got a bunch of accessories that attach to it as well. Yeah, so I've seen quite a few like iPhone camera companies come out with different MagSafe stuff for like, you just you slap a light on there, right? And or other things like that, microphone mounts or bigger cages that you can attach stuff to that the phone just clips into via MagSafe. So my only concern with that is like, how strong is that connection? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be like running around and have your phone just fly out. But it is cool to see companies getting creative, right? And like I said, I have been completely oblivious to this whole subsection of Apple products because I forgot my phone could use them. So I didn't even. And so I'm treating MagSafe almost as if it's a brand new thing, even though it's been around for quite a while. So I'm still doing, still looking and seeing what's out there. But I don't know. It's not nearly as exciting as, like, the fact that I've talked about it this long is a bit alarming to me. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But it's a brand new feature to me, so I'm playing with it like I do with new things. I'm trying to figure out the best way to use it. So that's Cam catching up with 3.5 years of history that he didn't know existed.
All right.
Thank you for indulging me. I did not mean to take that long. I apologize.
No. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and we do have time for it. So it's going to be another walk down history or memory lane. Is that what it is? Look at our history. Apple offered a new feature. And by the way, if you've listened to Connected this week, they did something similar to this. I had this idea before they started, and then they started doing it. And I'm like, oh, well, it was fun. It was fun to listen to. But if you go into I found the easiest way to get to there was through the App Store, and you can tap on your account or your little picture up in the corner, and then there is a new link called Purchase History. And if you tap on that, what Purchase History shows you, and this might be fun for the listener to go back and look through theirs as well. But what Purchase History does is it takes you back and shows you like all the app purchases, media purchases, everything now, including subscriptions. So you can go in and see all your subscriptions in here too, and what you paid for everything and all that. But what is very interesting about this is that towards the top you can sort it. It's real small. You see where I'm looking right there?
Yeah, I'm already checking out my.
So you can change
2010.
You can change the date range, and it gives you a big long list of dates. And does yours only go back to 2010?
Well, that was when I first started using Apple products. Was 2010.
Okay, so and that must. I was wondering about that because mine goes back to 2005, and I was wondering if it had a limitation. Now, 2005, I was using iTunes.
Well, no, that's not true because I had iPods. Mm-hmm. In college.
Yeah. But this would be your purchase history on this Apple ID. So
maybe I had a different Apple ID back then.
Yeah, it's possible, but at any rate, this is all of your purchases going way back. So in 2005, I was probably on a Dell or a Gateway machine. And I had an iTunes account. So then what I did back then was just downloaded free music. Anything that showed up free on the iTunes store. So to look back, I'm going to open up 2005 and everything for the year, and also include free. And there's 2 search results. I downloaded American Idiot by Green Day.
By Green Day?
Just the song, just the one song. Yeah. It wasn't the whole album. And then for some reason, is it Hinder? Get Stoned. I downloaded. I have no idea why. But
I forgot they were a band.
Yeah, but that's funny. So what was your first downloads that are listed on there? And hopefully now that I've embarrassed myself, yours won't seem so bad.
Yeah, so mine was 2010 on this Apple ID, which makes me sad because I definitely had iPods with killer playlists on them in college. So that's a bummer. The first album I bought was from a band that 2 of my high school friends were in, called Apple Trees and Tangerines. Or no, what was it? Some really weird name like that. So I have their album on here, and then I have 2 Hillsong albums, a Phil Wickham album, and a Passion album that I all got in August of 2010.
All right, so I'm going to look at 2010 because this should be fun. to see where you were and
then
where
there's
I
a
was.
bunch of stuff on here that my ex-wife bought.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting.
Katy Perry, Kesha, Lady Antebellum, Hanson. Those are definitely all hers. Oh my gosh. Oh, and then I redeemed it with the Tron Legacy soundtrack and Rocket Summer album to round the year out.
All right. I'm looking for media. Everything I've got is apps. 2010. Do you remember
my
when
first
Apple...
apps I didn't get till 2011 because that's when I got an iPad.
I think I was actually streaming music at this point because I don't see any. Either that or I was stealing music, one or the other. That was a big year for me, though. Good grief. What happened in 2010? This must have been one of my first. Oh, here's some audio. I downloaded a soundtrack for The Voices in My Head by Cell Dweller.
I have no idea what that means.
Cell Dwellers used to be Circle of Dust. Cell Dweller is still a thing today. He's still making music. But that was a instrumental album, is the second version of I actually still listen to a lot of this stuff because it's really good. But man, this takes me back. This was the first time I downloaded the Amazon shopping app was in 2010. Goodness. Helvetica calendar. Downloaded that. Zenbound 2. Do you ever play any of the Zenbound games? It was like a wood like animal, and then you had to wrap it in a string. No.
Nope.
Got downloaded the Netflix app that year. Instapaper, Instagram. Things. I downloaded Things.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah. I don't see much.
Things has been around for 14 years.
At least.
Man.
Downloaded the Kindle app. So one of the things about 2010 for me, that was the year that I bought my first Mac. So that would have been my MacBook Pro that I bought on February 13th, 2010. Why do I remember that date? I mean, it was the day before Valentine's Day, which was nice. But I celebrated that day for a lot of years because I was pretty excited about my Mac. So I'm a dork.
So
it's okay.
My first app purchases on this account were September 2nd, 2011. And brace yourself for these ones. I paid for GarageBand, Pages, and Keynote on my iPad.
Okay.
$9.99 for Pages and Keynote and $4.99 for GarageBand. All apps that have come stock for a long time. They did not used to.
I think 2008 was when the App Store opened, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm going to go dig back and see what I got here. See how embarrassed I can make myself. I don't even want to talk about the music that I downloaded that year. All right. My first app download. I don't think this app even exists anymore. Zenby Lists. It must have been a to-do list tracker. I do kind of wonder if it still exists.
So those were my first paid out apps. September 1st apparently must have been when I got my iPad. Because I got Words with Friends, Dropbox, Bounce the Bunny, Skype for iPad, Score Center for iPad, the Bible app, WordPress, Netflix, Twitter. All of those were for free on the first, and then I spent the big bucks on the second for Pages, Keynote, and GarageBand. That's too funny. Yeah, it was the second version of the iPad 2.
Mm-hmm.
It had like the curved edges so you could pick it up off the table easier. And like the inch thick bezels on all the sides. Oh man, I was in love with that thing. I used to AirPlay it to the TV in the youth group room so I could walk around while I taught and like control this. I felt so cool.
Yeah. I have a possible mini topic for us to discuss when we get done talking about this, because I got a text message from my pastor yesterday and had to help him out with something. So, but before we move on to that, so I was just looking up to see when I got my first iPhone. So I have the iPhone 4S. That was the first iPhone that I bought, and that was a 2011. So all the apps that I'm looking at that I downloaded in 2008, I was running on an iPod Touch. So, because I didn't buy my iPad until after I had my iPhone. So, because I got the first iPad Pro, the 9.7 inch.
Nice.
So, but yeah, some cool stuff and some really terrible stuff.
Yeah.
and some stuff I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, there's stuff in here. I downloaded that album. I don't even know what that song is. But my birthday is September 15th, and apparently on my 25th birthday in 2011, I bought Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and The Matrix. What a random trio of movies that I bought myself for my birthday.
So here's a memory lane. I have purchased the iPhone 2.0 software update. Remember when you used to have to buy the software updates?
No.
Yeah, they were like $10, I think.
My first iPhone was the iPhone 5, the one that was like an extra row of apps taller than the previous. So
generation. this was the iPod Touch again that I bought this on. But yeah, when you used to get iPhone software updates, you had to pay for them. They were like. Well, 10,
I remember that for the I remember knowing about that for the Mac, and they would send you the CD-ROM in the mail, and then you'd have to. And I knew that because some of my friends' families had Macs growing up. My cousin actually. But yeah, no, my first iPhone was the iPhone 5, and it was all black. And because it was taller, I named it Tall, Dark, and Handsome. Because I thought I was clever.
Yeah.
I loved that phone, man. That iPhone 5 was. It had like it was the first one also to have the straight sides, not the rounded ones. Like it totally looked different. Yeah, that was my first iPhone. I loved that thing.
Yeah, if you look back on my shelf back here, there's the iPhone 4S box, the white box there, and right next to it is the very first iPod Touch. That I owned. That is.
I wish they still made those.
Yeah.
That would be convenient,
right?
Because I don't want to buy my kid a phone.
Here's a little trivia for you. What musical artist was featured on the front of the iPod Touch on the iPod Touch box?
Well, I know that there was a U2 edition of the actual iPod, but not the iPod Touch, so it's not going to be them. What musician was on the iPod Touch box?
Yeah, hold on, let me grab it.
Oh boy. Don't show me.
What's that?
Can I get a genre?
You're not far off with the Beatles. Look at that little guy.
Okay, who is it? Is it you said I'm not far off with the Beatles? Oh, John Lennon.
Yeah, it was John Lennon. So I would have to find my 30-pin 30-pin connector to charge this.
Oh my gosh. Remember those things?
Yeah. But yeah, good times. Yes, I saved up money to be able to go and buy that thing.
Yeah, I never had an iPod Touch.
Mm-hmm.
I had the iPod, the first colored version.
Mm-hmm.
You could play like solitaire on with the click wheel, and then I had the iPod Mini, not the Shuffle or the Nano, but the Mini.
Mm-hmm.
I had that one in college, and I remember I went to like go put it in my hoodie pocket, and like I missed, and I just chucked it on the ground, and I was just like standing there on my college campus, just absolutely mortified, like, oh my god, I just got this thing, it's so much money.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a broke college kid, everything is expensive.
Yeah, my wife had I think at least one, if not two, iPod minis before we got our iPhones. And I had two iPod touches before I got my iPhone 4S. So, yep. No, for the longest time, I was on the S cycle every year for the longest time when they would do the 4 and then the 4S, the 5 and then the 5S, the 6 and then the 6S. I was always on that S year. And so I actually think I have all the boxes for the iPhones that I've had over the years on my shelf back there. So, because I'm that kind of guy. But anyway, yeah. Are there any apps that you really miss that aren't available anymore?
I mean, now that I have Obsidian, I would say I don't miss it anymore, but Editorial was really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Federico was super into he wrote a whole book on how to, essentially pimp out your editorial and do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. But then the developer just stopped updating it and stopped, it's just dead in the water for a couple years now. So for a long time, I was looking for an editor that could do similar, stuff that Editorial could. And I tried everything, and I landed on Obsidian, and I've been happy with that for quite a while. We've talked ad nauseum about that, so we don't need to go in it now. But yeah, Editorial comes to mind. I'm sure there's like some stupid games that I used to play a long time ago that I really liked but I can't remember them now. I don't know. Nothing besides Editorial is really racing to the front of my head right now. What about you?
I've talked about one game in the past that I absolutely loved, and I wish I could find something that was anywhere close to it. And I think in today's market, it would do really well if you could just get like almost like a social aspect to it. But it was a game called Poker Quest. That it was a dice rolling game where you played dice poker, and it was an absolutely addicting game. So if you like, I could sit down and I could roll just a few hands of this, or I could sit down for hours and play it. Like it was just a fun little game that, and it wasn't super weird, but the Motion X team made that game before they got into navigation and all this other stuff that they do now. But they made this game. It was one of the first games that literally you could take your phone and you could shake it to roll the dice. And the dice would fly around on the screen and settle in and it used like real-time physics, which most of the dice rolling apps or the dice apps that you see on the App Store now don't do that. One exception would be Dice by PCalc, which I would love to see that built into a game like Poker Quest was. But it was an app that I played all the time. And when MotionX announced that they were going into more business related stuff and they weren't going to be doing consumer apps anymore, it broke my heart a little bit because I love that app, and I played that app for a long time after that until you got to the point that it was no longer compatible with anything. and I miss that app. It makes me sad.
Yeah. One app did pop into my head while you were talking, and it was when you went to shake your phone. It reminded me of an app that my grandpa had on his phone. He had an iPhone long before I did. And it was one where your screen was a mug of beer and you went like this, and then you drank the beer. He thought it was the funniest thing.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I had
and that was back. That was like very early on in the Apple Store or on the iPhones when they opened the App Store, because at first it wasn't open. It was just Apple apps. And then they opened it, and lots of gimmicky stuff came out like that because people were still trying to figure out what the heck this was and how do we use it and that sort of stuff.
And people were making a buck a download on stuff like that because people wanted, it was a gold rush at the time. People wanted to use their phones.
And the novelty and like the whimsy of just a brand new type of device.
I'm drinking beer.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So yeah. So that's a well, my grandpa's been dead for years at this point, but that's a fond memory. Yeah. Just chuckling on the couch in his living room. Hey, Cameron, and he's from Scotland, so he had a great accent. Yeah. Would you like a beer latte? It's so good. Sorry, it's personal nostalgia there.
Oh yeah. No, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so last little topic for today. I had it down in the show notes as a possible topic for today, but I thought I'd move it up. So my pastor contacts me yesterday. He is not an Apple guy. Matter of fact, he finds most Apple stuff repellent. And yesterday he texted me, "Hey, I want a tablet for reading my books on Logos. What do you recommend?" Well, here's the problem. When it comes to tablets, like, what do you recommend other than an iPad? I don't even know. Like, I know Samsung makes some tablets. I know you've got the Amazon Fire tablet. There's a few
the trick
others.
Here is Logos. Do they have an Android app?
And I imagine they do. That's the other thing is, he uses it on his Android phone. But what's the experience like? And so I made my case. I was like, iPads are going to be the best tablet for this. And being that I know that he's price conscious, because that's one of the reasons he doesn't buy Apple stuff, is because it's expensive, or it's more expensive than a lot of what's out there. Which there's an argument there, I understand. But what I recommended to him, I was like, well, the 9th generation iPad is still available for sale. You can get it on Amazon for $249. Apple sells it for $329. So for something that's on the low end price wise, that's not the worst purchase. But I said, if I was going to recommend a device for you for reading, iPad mini to me is way better for just reading. So do you disagree, agree? What is your thought?
Hold on, I'm pricing out the iPad mini.
Well, Amazon's got it for $399. It's $499 on the Apple.com.
$500 for an iPad mini. Wow. That's more than I expected.
Yeah.
And you're saying Amazon's selling it for $100 less?
Yeah.
Dang. How's Amazon getting away with that?
I don't know, man. I believe it's Apple selling it on Amazon, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, experience-wise, the mini.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier. You can hold it a lot longer without your, hand or wrist.
It's lighter, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, literally like, it is the size of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's not difficult to hold. It is quite literally my hand. Yeah. But even for $400, I can't believe I spent that kind of money on that. Yeah, but I mean, I guess it really does depend on like what's the price point for the Samsung tablets?
Considerably cheaper, actually.
I mean, compared to the $249 for the iPad. Samsung tablets, $349, $699.
I guess maybe if you're looking at Samsung. I know the Amazon Fire tablets are much cheaper.
Yeah, but those are
garbage.
Not great. I guess it just depends on. Yeah, I'm looking at a pretty wide range, anywhere from like 100 to like one that's 700. Is that? Oh, it's a 14.6 inch. What is this? Samsung Galaxy S8 Ultra 14.6 inch 128 gig Wi-Fi with S Pen. $700.
So for the record, that sounds like not a device you want to read on, though.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I can imagine my wrists would get really sore really quick.
It comes with a keyboard and trackpad attachment as well. So it's more of a convertible.
Yeah, it's more of a convertible computer.
Straight tablet. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what they want to spend and what sort of experience, user experience they're going for, and if he's price conscious, then there's probably a Samsung tablet or, other Android tablet out there that he can get for $150.
Yeah, my reservation in recommending that would be the app experience, because most of your Android apps are just blown up phone apps. And I think it would be a lesser experience. Yeah,
and again, I mean, I wouldn't recommend Android or Samsung stuff just because I haven't used Android in 14 years, 13 years. I've used tons of Microsoft products, but in that time frame, but not anything Android. So I would be hard pressed to recommend it just because I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Does Google make any Pixel tablets? I know they make the phones.
That's a good question. I don't know if the Google makes tablet.
Yeah, they do. Google Pixel tablet. $399.
Yeah, so we're still talking a little bit of cash for that. Well, that's with, I think if you're looking at the same one I'm looking at, that's with the charging dock.
Yeah.
Maybe you need the charging dock with it. But
an 11-inch. Yeah, so you're talking
so price-wise,
similar size to standard iPad.
Yeah, that's an 11-inch.
I think the aspect ratio looks different. It looks a little thinner. So like, not as tall but wider than the iPad, standard iPad.
More it's not 16:9, but it's closer to it.
Correct.
Yeah, where the iPad's a little more closer to a 4.3.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. There's obviously a ton of options. I'm just not. I know what I like.
Yeah.
And I stick with it.
So how do you handle it when people come to you with advice, looking for gadget advice?
I mean, a lot of that happened at my last church, and most of those people use Apple devices. Yeah. So it was just more of like, hey, how much storage do I need on this? Or, like we're getting a new computer for downstairs? How much, what kind of, specs do we need on the Mac Mini to, do what we want to do down there? It was more of that stuff and less of like, should I get a Fire tablet or should I get a Chromebook? Because my answer to that would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't help you with that.
Well,
but if you want to talk like sound equipment or music equipment or Apple products or cameras for like when COVID hit and we needed to be able to live stream.
Yeah.
Like I set that whole thing up. So like if people ask me for advice and stuff that I'm confident that I can offer good advice in. Yeah. Readily available. If I don't know, I'm not going to waste your time or your money.
Yeah. No, there's what I run into most often is, hey, my phone doesn't work. What should I do? Buy a new phone? No, that's actually one of the biggest frustrations as a tech guy at the church is that you get people that come up to you, oh, well, can you fix this for me? And it's like, well, I had a lady come up to me probably a year ago, maybe a little bit more. Her all-in-one computer. Now, I did not know that it was an all-in-one to start with. It was an HP all-in-one. It won't turn on. What do I do? And I'm like, you can have it serviced, but what did you pay for it? Oh, I paid a few $100s for it and this, that. And I was like, well, you're going to pay at least that to have it fixed. At least that, between parts and labor. And I was like, you're probably just looking at replacing it. Well, she didn't like that answer. And she wanted me to come to her house and look at it. And I'm like, well, I says, and I didn't really have the time to, and I was just in the end, she wasn't happy with this answer. And I feel bad about it, but it's like, I can't help you. What you want is a cheap, easy fix, and you don't have a cheap, easy fix. It was a hard drive failure from everything she was telling me. And it's like, well, we're going to have to put a new hard drive in it. We're going to have to, have to open up the case, which quite honestly, with an all-in-one, what are the odds that it's not just all on a logic board and you can't really do anything with it anyway, or that it's solid state memory and it's all, soldered right into the board. And so I just told her, I was like, yeah, you'd have to take it to Best Buy or something like that for them to look at it. I don't know. And of course she didn't want to do that because she, you walk in there and it's, $200 for them to look at it. So something like that. But anyway,
fun times.
Yeah. But I'll pass this one along to my pastor as well, this Google Pixel tablet, and say, this will be comparable. So.
Well, and you at least know too that you're going to get good build quality. You know what I mean? It'll last. Yeah. From a hardware perspective, right? Google makes good stuff in that regard. Same with Samsung, right? Yeah. But you're also paying for brand name at that point too.
Yeah.
And those prices are all comparable with iPad prices. So
and they don't make a smaller version of this, do they?
I don't think so.
Yeah. My biggest worry with recommending something in an 11-inch is it's just going to be hard to hold for any length of time. Because weight can be.
Got a cool stand though.
It does have a cool stand. I do wish that Apple had something like that, because that's just sweet. Because it can be, it can be a little photo frame when you're not using it for. Yeah, that is a nice little stand. Apple, get on it. Get a nice little stand for your. That'd be pretty sweet if they came out with something like that with the new iPads. But apparently, we're supposed to hear about some new iPads in the next few weeks.
Well, and there's the smart connector too, so it can charge, right?
Right.
On the stand like the Google one does.
Just needs a magnet in there to suck onto that little thing, and they love their magnets, so why not? But anyway, you ready to talk about what's delighting us today?
I am.
All right, let's get to it. What's delighting you today, Cam?
March Madness.
The most
the tournament is upon us. second round starts in 35 minutes.
Yeah. So
my team had one of the worst seasons in school history this year.
Huh.
We have since fired our coach.
So if you're listening to the show for the first time, Michigan is your team.
Yes, University of Michigan, Wolverines, current football national champions, which is still weird to say. But yeah, their basketball team this year was, I think they won 8 games. And they lost like 24. It was just bad all around. So they're not in the tournament. They're not in any tournament. They didn't get invited to the NIT or the college basketball invitation. Like they're done. And they're without coach, which is, hopefully going to be solved here in the next couple of weeks. Get a new person in there to right the ship. But it's just fun because, again, it's win or go home. So these kids are playing at the most competitive they possibly can. And it's just fun to watch. Like, I watched Oakland University, which is in Michigan. It's one county away from where I grew up. It's like maybe 40 minutes from where I grew up. They beat Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky was like a 3 seed or a 4 seed, right? And is a perennial blue blood when it comes to college basketball. Has incredible history. They've won a bunch of national championships. They always get really good recruits, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, no.
Oakland University.
I hear about it all the time because my pastor grew up in Kentucky and he's a huge Kentucky fan. So
yeah, just say Louisville to him and watch him twitch. Louisville. Humperdinck. Anyways, so he's probably really thrilled that they just lost to Oakland the other day. You should not rub that in his face at all when you see him tomorrow.
Certainly not.
But you get to see upsets, right? And it's just fun watching, like, hearing stories about these kids and what they've been through and their families and what the coaches, and just you get like all like the human interest story, which is nice. But it's just really fun basketball because kids are playing like there is no tomorrow, because if they lose, there isn't. And for like the kids that this is their last competitive game of their life because they're not good enough to go pro, even in Europe, like, you can just see how much they care and how much they fight for it. And I love rooting for the underdog. So it's just fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Especially this first weekend, because the round of 64, so there's 16 games on Thursday, 16 games on Friday, 8 games today and 8 games tomorrow. It's just like a veritable drinking from a fire hose. But it's fun because it's college basketball. So that's what's delighting me right now. And I don't have a dog in the fight, so I'm free to just watch and just enjoy fun basketball and not have to really care who wins.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
All right.
Because the college football playoff was stressful.
Yeah.
Ultimately enjoyable, but stressful. So anyways, that's what's delighting me. What about you, sir?
So I've talked about how excited I am for the Acolyte, Star Wars, The Acolyte, premiering on Disney Plus, and we have a release date, June 4th, and the first trailer, which the trailer was shown at Star Wars Celebration, but it was like one of these that they didn't release. So it's just the people that were there that got to see this. So now we all get to see it, and it looks interesting. Cool. Yeah. It looks interesting. And I've watched a few breakdown videos because I was hoping that there was something that I missed. But I'm going into this cautiously optimistic because it is a show that could go a lot of different directions. But then the main thing that you saw in the trailer was there is what we think is going to be a Sith that is going after Jedi. And this is taking place somewhere 50 to 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Okay, that was my question, was where in the timeline are we? So you said 50 to 100 years before Phantom Menace?
50 to 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So
this is before Obi-Wan's even born.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
By a long shot.
Yeah. So what the thought is here is that this may be leading towards Palpatine's emergence as a Sith. This may be leaning into Darth Plagueis, which would have been around that time period as well.
Because he was the mentor for Palpatine, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. He was his master. Okay. So this would be right in that time period where Darth Plagueis would have been coming up as a Sith Lord. And so there's a possibility that may play into it as well. But it's also the end of the High Republic era that we're looking at. So we're going to see a lot of different things that we haven't seen before, because the architecture is a little different in that time period. The ship's design and stuff like that is much different in the High Republic era. So I think we're going to see some really cool stuff. The ladies, or the group that you see, the cult that has the blue robes on, and she's got the little swirl on her forehead. The rumors about that is that they're part of a Sith cult that, because the rule of two has been established, these are people who are Force users that want to be Sith, that are vying for the opportunity to be Sith, but only one can be chosen. And so there's this kind of idea that, there's more dark Force users, but they're not Sith, and they're not being trained as Sith. So
I never understood the rule of two, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to take over the universe with evil, why limit yourself to two people? It seems like, anyways, it's whatever. I have a very important question about the architecture, though, of the High Republic. Does it include railings? Because that is my biggest pet peeve about Star Wars, is there's people standing a foot away from a 400-foot drop in Coruscant without railings anywhere. They don't exist, and they're just not allowed anywhere in Star Wars architecture, and it blows my mind. Like the walkways, the part where Luke is hiding in the Death Star on that panel, and there's just like a 400, 500-foot drop, and it's just a walkway with no railings, and the stormtroopers don't even care. It's everywhere, and it drives me nuts.
It's a choice. I don't know to tell you if there's any railings, and
I don't know why it bothers me so much. But every time I see it, I'm like, why is there? OSHA would not approve.
So think about this. This was something that I swear was brought up in a book somewhere, that the design of the TIE fighters in this has probably been retconned. Wasn't the initial thought. But if you think about the design of the TIE fighters, where there's a little pod in the middle with these huge like discs on the outside, or these huge like flat panels on the outside, and the thought that in this book, or wherever I read this, was the idea that the Empire cared so little about their individual stormtroopers that there was no safety in that. It was easy to shoot them down. All it was, and it might even come from the Republic era, where they it was all droids. The idea of we overwhelm with so many, as opposed to caring about like a few soldiers. And so it doesn't, the individual stormtroopers' lives don't matter, so we're not going to build safety features into anything, because, if we lose one, we'll replace them with another one. Yeah. Or the clone thing too. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all clones.
And we just finished a story arc in the Clone Wars, one of my least favorite story arcs, where they deal with that idea of the value of clones as man, or as just like replaceable units, to be used whichever way they want to. The Jedi Master Krell story arc.
Is he like the big, huge, angry,
dude.
fat?
Yeah, big dude with
I hate that.
Dual double lightsabers.
I couldn't get past that story arc. I was like, this guy sucks. I really don't like him.
It kind of ends satisfyingly though.
Yeah, but that was a long 3 episodes to get through.
Mm-hmm. But anyway,
you're just a bad dude.
Yeah. So that is what's delighting me today. So
you sent me the release or the trailer, and I really liked some of the fight scenes. It looked almost like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like where they're like, I was like, ooh, more of this, please, instead of just classic lightsaber battles, which are fun, but I like a different fighting style, showing them like using the Force to like float or jump for, that sort of stuff is cool. But then I saw one of the comments, and I'm going to paraphrase it because Carrie-Anne Moss is one of the characters, right? And she plays one of the main leads, Trinity, in The Matrix. And and that was her, her biggest role to that point was The Matrix. And it's what she's most well known for, even though she's done a bunch of other stuff since. And so naturally, someone in the comments was like something along the lines of season finale. We find out this is just a Jedi training session in The Matrix, Jedi training program in The Matrix. I was like, someone's going to make the joke. And I'm glad that we just got it out and we can all move on now. But I did get a chuckle out of that.
It does stand to reason that this is a different era. And so the fighting styles would be a little different. Things would look a little different. They are definitely leaning into more of an Oriental style fighting, which I think will be fun. So,
yeah, and I'm ready for another Star Wars series because they do TV shows pretty darn well for the most part.
For the most part,
and because and also too, like it's, as you said, different era, different characters. We're gonna, it's a brand new story. And that's one of the things that I liked about Andor was like we knew what the end was because there was the movie, right? Yeah. It's like we know how this ends, but still getting to learn about new characters and parts of the rebellion that we didn't know about and how it was kind of a little dark and nasty at certain points to get the job done, and just all of that stuff I just found really compelling and enjoyable because we're learning more about characters we didn't know that helped get to where we know we're going. And so that's what excites me about this one is like, this is totally brand new, especially for someone like me who hasn't read nearly as many books or as you have and doesn't know the history as well. It's going to be really exciting to just expand the universe.
I'm really hoping that we spend some good time with the Sith in this series because that's the rumor, is that this is going to be a really good delve into who are the Sith, what do they believe, like what, and getting a better understanding of that, which you'll find in some of the cartoons, a little bit more of that. You definitely find in a lot of the books, and especially in Legends, the Legends books, but you don't see it a lot in the movies or the TV shows at this point. So it should be fun.
Only got to wait 6 weeks?
Yeah, June 4th. So it's April, May, June. It's a little more than 6 weeks, but.
Oh, yeah. It's March. I forgot there's 2 months.
At least 8 weeks.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
But it's June 4th. We have a date, so I'm going to celebrate.
If you could edit out that mental gaffe, that'd be great. Thanks.
Oh, that's staying in the show.
Cam doesn't know the calendar.
Math is hard. So. Anyway, we should wrap her up for today.
Indeed.
If you are interested in finding out more about us, if you want to send us some feedback, check out our back catalog, check out innerdialogue.show. If you want to know more about what I do, mitchcraig.online. And Cam, where can people find you?
CamBrennan.com.
Indeed. All right. Well, we'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
Indeed. Farewell.